Yo, 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 happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday, everyone. My name is Justin Moore, founder of Creator Wizard, where I teach you how to find and negotiate your dream sponsorships. Welcome back to another live stream. Today, we're going to be talking about how to prepare for brand calls. Has that been something that you've ever either done, or maybe you've worried about, or maybe a brand has asked to get on a call with you and you were like, I don't know if I could ever do that. I'm terrified of that. And so if this is something that you've ever experienced or want to get better at, then you're in the right place for today's live stream. Let me know where you're tuning in from across all the various platforms. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter or X, probably some other ones that I can't remember right now. Let's see. We've got who we got turning in on YouTube. We've got Delilah. What's going on, Delilah? Good to see you here. We've got Sandra Neuro Raji tuning in on Instagram. I'm Not a Gentleman podcast. Just joined UGC by Nanad. W Commons 1, the Southern Western Griller, Yusuf 3 Mom tuning in on Instagram. Good to see you. We've got Adam St. Clair tuning in on LinkedIn. What's going on, Adam? Good to see you here, man. Real quickly, I just wanted to acknowledge today's sponsor of the live stream, Uscreen. I'm going to be talking about them a bit later into the stream. So as you know, these live streams are for you. So any questions that you have around sponsorships, brand deals, negotiations, I'm going to be answering those questions a little bit later in the live stream. So make sure to drop those in the chat, and I will make sure to get back to those in a bit. All right. So I have a few things that I want to talk about today around preparing for brand calls. So I have been on many brand calls in my day, whether it's initial discovery calls, trying to convince a brand to partner with us and pay us money, whether it's briefing calls where, the brand, we've already signed the deal with the brand and they are going through the overview of how they want us to bring the content to life. I've been on phone calls with brands where things weren't going so well for one reason or another in a partnership, how to kind of manage that situation. I've also been on many calls when I ran an agency. I ran an influencer agency for about 7 years. And so I've been on a lot of higher level calls with brands and advertisers where there were just various challenging things going on with creators that we were working with, or logistics with the campaign, or let's just put it this way. Like, I have been on hundreds and hundreds of calls with brands in my life. And I think I've developed a pretty comprehensive list of like best practices of like how to behave on those calls, how to walk away from those calls with brands, feeling as though the relationship was reinforced and not soured. And so I was hoping to impart some of those to y'all today. We've got Delilah saying, yes, just getting ready to head out to work. So at least it's starting off right, watching Justin while uploading my own video. Awesome, Delilah. Good job for uploading that video today. We've got Sarah Dawn tuning in from Toronto. Toronto says, this is perfect. I've got an upcoming collab call soon. There we go. Boom. Love to see it. All right. So let's kick it off. So if you're a creator and you're ever wondering like how to prepare for brand calls, let's first talk about like how you should look. Should you be presentable? If it's going to be via video, do you want to have a nice background? Do you want to be dressed well and not in your Snuggie? And the answer is absolutely yes. A big part of how, people judge us or perceive us, not just on brand calls, but just in everyday life, oftentimes has to do with the context surrounding your personality. And so, always make a point to look presentable, try to clean up your home if you can, at the very least, put the blurred background on, Zoom or whatever, so it blurs the background, but honestly, like, a big part, like, imagine you're interacting with a brand or an agency, and all day long they are on calls with their colleagues, or they're on calls with other partners and things like that. It's almost always a professional setting, right? Yes, of course, like, people are working from home and remote working has changed this a little bit, but to some degree people are expected to like, show up like somewhat professional to a call, right? And so if you show up to the call and it seems like you weren't prepared, you just rolled out of bed, your hair's all crazy, something about the way in which you're arriving to the call does not like exude like confidence, doesn't exude. Like, imagine that this brand, you're asking this brand to pay you 4 figures, 5 figures, 6 figures maybe for a partnership. they may not have that warm and fuzzy feeling if this is how, like that you're coming to a call trying to convince them to part with that money. And so it's just like a housekeeping thing here. Like if you didn't think it was important, it is important. I absolutely would recommend that you do this. Even if it's not the brand directly, maybe you're interacting with an agency. They have the same, again, like, speaking from my own experience, like oftentimes we would have a lot of pre-calls with a potential partner, even though the deal hadn't quite been signed yet, but we were serving as the agent of the brand, meaning that, we were executing the campaign on their behalf. And so like we also want to have confidence in the prospective partner, right? And so if you're showing up to a call looking and behaving like that doesn't give us a lot of confidence in like, okay, well maybe we shouldn't actually hire this person because I don't know, just the way in which the vibe in which they're bringing to this interaction doesn't feel very professional, doesn't feel like a business relationship, and it's I understand it's also kind of tough because perhaps as a creator, as an influencer, you didn't get into this being like, I want to be a corporate type, I want to be a business person, and I want to be professional on these calls. I don't know why I'm using this voice, by the way, but like maybe that was the it's hard for you to kind of hear this. But what I will say is that if partnering with brands, if partnering with companies represents a non-trivial percentage of your revenue as a creator, even if you look at yourself as a creator's creator, right? And you're in it for the pure art or the pure creativity, you have to be honest with yourself and understand that if you're making money from partnerships, then there's a certain level of professionalism and polish that you need to have in those relationships. And so learning about this type of thing is pretty critical. The other thing here I see Sarah was mentioning here in the chat that I'm thinking about testing out the audio in my local coffee shop. So there's this adage when it comes to content creation that like, you can film it on a potato as long as your audio sounds good. So if at the very least you can buy like a $20 or $30 mic, that you can plug into your phone or plug into your camera or something, or even, you can get these like kind of tabletop podcast mics, like a Blue Yeti or something for pretty inexpensive now. And it sounds awesome. And like, oftentimes that can up the quality of like the vibe that you give, when this setup that you see me here now, I would say literally maybe 40 to 50% of the time where I get on a call with the brand, or, April and we'll have like I'll have another mic here and she'll be sitting next to me on a briefing call or something. 40 to 50% of the time they will comment on our setup. Wow, your setup looks so polished. It looks so professional. Like, and so what does that do? What kind of confidence does that evoke when you're preparing to enter into a partnership with the brand? It actually matters, right? And so that's what I'll say about that particular point. Okay. All right. If you're a creator and you're wondering how to prepare for brand calls, one of the most important, things that you can do is prepare and do research ahead of time. Learning about, potentially what's going on in the brand's world, right? If they're a public company, are they facing competitive headwinds? Are there, supply chain challenges that they've experienced? Have they worked with creators in the past? Have they not? Does it seem like you can, ascertain that before you actually get on the call? I even go so far as to have a list of questions in front of me that I want to make sure not to forget to ask, right? Because especially when at the early stages, when you're pitching a brand or you're in the negotiation phase and the deal has not been completely scoped, or exactly what you're going to be, proposing or pitching or doing for the brand hasn't been finalized, it's really, really important to have a list so you don't forget, because it's really easy to get derailed and go off track when you're, having these conversations. And so having that list in front of you that you've prepared ahead of time, I've even gone so far as to put an agenda together and share it with the brand ahead of time. That also is like, wow, like this is crazy. This creator is like, preparing in advance and having an agenda and all the questions. Like, again, it just speaks to the professionalism that you want to evoke when you're on these calls. And so this is the pre-work, right? So there's two different things. You've got the pre-work, which is like the questions that you want to, like, that you're able to research ahead of time. But then there's also the importance of being able to pull threads while you're on the call. So a couple things that are hard to determine before you're on the call, but are critical to try to to ask and determine on the call is, for example, understanding about the key decision makers as part of this, deal. So what will sometimes happen is that you'll be on a call with the brand and then they'll make an offhanded comment about like, oh yeah, we need to make sure to like talk to my boss or talk to this other person in this other department because like they're going to need to, be involved or something too. Oh, okay, good. Write that down. That's important information, right? Maybe they make an offhanded comment of like, okay, yeah, we're going to need to make sure to pull in our PR agency because they're going to be handling like this aspect of the partnership or something. So there you go. You make a note about that too. And so then when you follow up after the call with, other questions or the proposal or whatever, you can make sure to follow up on those additional people that they called out. So you say, something as simple as like, would it make sense to schedule an additional call to loop in colleague X or agency Y to iron out other details about this particular aspect of the partnership, because that will just be another good reminder for the brand to get that call on the books. Because one of the things I've talked about before is that like this particular point is so critical, understanding the key decision makers, because you could do all the work in the world. You could do all the research. You could ask all the right questions. You could do so much. And then you put the proposal together and then you deliver it only to realize that the person, your contact that you're interacting with is not the key decision maker. It's actually this other person who ultimately holds the keys to the budget, or it's this other agency that ultimately is going to be the one making the decision. And so your job should be to try to ascertain all the different people that need to be at the table to get buy-in and get approval, or to like just get their perspectives heard so that they don't feel slighted and removed from the process. When I ran an agency, this happened all the time where, someone just felt slighted. They were like, how come I wasn't involved in these meetings? How come I wasn't, like my opinion wasn't asked about how we were going to be spending this $100,000 or whatever, right? And then they would tank the deal. They would like, either slow roll it, or they would throw, wrenches in the process, or they would have enough internal influence to kind of derail the partnership just because they had a personal vendetta for the fact that they weren't included in the decision-making process. And this seems so perverse. It seems so dysfunctional, but this stuff happens all the time. Believe me, like I've done hundreds of deals, especially through the agency. I can speak specifically about the fact that this happens all the time, and so it should be your job to try to suss some of this stuff out so that you can prevent that, right? So the key decision makers thing is a really, really critical one. There's a couple other things to try to ask these questions on a call. Understanding about timelines. Understanding about how partnerships typically work internally. I was had just a quick anecdote. I was on a coaching call recently, this week actually. And this creator is negotiating with a very, very large brand, a brand that you would absolutely know. And a big part of the challenge about getting this deal over the finish line was that the brand had not done a lot of influencer marketing to date. And so a lot of the meetings that they were having and the Zoom calls and a lot of the questions that the brand was asking was about how to build the business case to sell through the value of influencer marketing internally, right? And so it seems like this very like annoying thing as a creator. It's just like, oh my gosh, don't these brands understand the value of influencer marketing? And that just, that's not the case for a lot of brands. You think, oh, isn't every brand doing this? And no, it's not. A lot of brands are still very traditional. Even if they are, testing it out, it's still very much kind of a very small sliver of their overall advertising spend. They could be spending millions, tens of millions of dollars in other advertising tactics or avenues, but like, working with partners, working with creators, working with influencers still is just like 100K, which to you is like 100K, but like, no, like if they're spending tens of millions, again, that's just like a small sliver. And so you have to understand like, any way in which you can be a brand's advocate to go through this process with them, to kind of be the voice of education and be the voice of like not being annoyed. And like I can share just like another quick anecdote is that I have now, there's a partner that I've been kind of negotiating with for Creator Wizard for the better part of 3 months now. And I'm about to go on, I think, my 7th call. with the brand, with the company, about how we could bring this partnership to life. And most people I have found get annoyed by that process, but I don't. I love that process because the longer that you can be become ingrained into the process and the very DNA and shape the way a brand looks at influencer marketing, it becomes granted that you're going to ultimately become one of the partners when they are able to finally get that deal across the finish line, right? It's like, oh, of course we're going to work with Justin because of, how he's like been one of the main people we've been talking with this whole time doing this thing. And honestly, even if the deal doesn't go across the finish line this year or even next year for that matter, a big part of what I talk about is like, it's not no. It's just not yet. I know that I'm going to ultimately work with that brand one day in some form or another, right? Because they're a big player. And so whether it happens now or next year or maybe in the next 5 years, I don't really care. I'm playing the long game, right? And so if you can bring this perspective to a lot of what you do on these phone calls with brands, you're really going to set yourself apart. So I'm going to take a quick pause and acknowledge some folks in the chat here. We've got Auntie Baby tuning in on TikTok. We've got Carrie, Coffee Couple 2017, Barton Tyler, Lenny R1 tuning in on TikTok. We've got Be Naturally Loved. We've got Bianca. What's going on, Bianca, from my team tuning in. We've got Texas DIY Mama, Carson T Garden, Sahil M73, Travel More Coach. Good to see you all here. Holy cow, the numbers just continue to blow my mind on YouTube. So we've set a new record. Guys, can we just like do some like golf claps here in the chat? We're setting new records in terms of concurrent viewers every single week here. I don't know what is going on here, but I don't know. Delilah says, man, Justin, that feels like middle school drama in the corporate world. Anyone who has ever worked in a corporate setting knows that it's like middle school. It's literally like middle school. There's cliques, there's people who have vendettas, there's like really perverse incentives, there's all these weird, just these weird things happen internally in corporate environments. And you do not want to find yourself in the middle of a lot of this drama. And there's ways to circumvent that. So it absolutely feels like that oftentimes, definitely. Trevor says, hey, Justin, Uscreen is my homies. Yes, absolutely. We're super appreciative of Uscreen as partnering as a partner of Creator Wizard. Going to talk about them in a bit. We've got John Willis tuning in on YouTube. Good to see you here, John. We've got Haley's Kitchen tuning in. Good to see you here. All right. We've got Tim from T-Pass Media tuning in. We've got Hanadi from the KMH family. Good to see you. We've got the in-between. Let's see here. Trevor says, got to join the TikTok chat, it sounds like. Yeah, we got folks tuning in on TikTok. Yeah, good to see you all here. All right. So a few things more I want to talk about the topic of preparing for brand calls. One thing that oftentimes terrifies creators about getting on calls with brands is the idea of not having an answer to a question that a brand asks and looking like an idiot, right? The brand says like, oh, how do you do this? And then you're like, right? And you've to that date or to that time have positioned yourself as an expert, and then all of a sudden you don't know the answer and you have egg on your face, right? I get it. That's a scary thing. But the permission that I want to impart to you and that I want to give you is that it's okay to say that I don't know the answer to that, and I will get back to you. In fact, I actually think that is a better reflection on your professionalism and your confidence when you can admit that you don't know the answer. I constantly do this when I'm on phone calls with brands or if I'm on phone calls with creators on a coaching call or something, or someone asks me a question in my Brand Deal Wizard course and I don't know the answer. I say I don't know. I'll go back and I'll get back to you. Right? I know a lot of things, but there's a lot of things that I don't know. Right? And so I think people and the most important thing is that you truly do go back and do your research and then circle back and get the answer to them. And I think that this type of permission that you can give yourself to realize, like, I actually don't need to have all of the answers at my fingertips. All I need to do is have the ability to know how to figure out the answer. That really is that I believe, is the true mark of intelligence and competence when it comes to partnerships. Is that, again, these brands also don't have the answer. Why do you think they're asking you these things, right? And so you would think that, oh yeah, every brand knows how to run paid media and do Spark ads and get the code or whatever, or do, allow listing or amplify, boosting on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. They know how to do all this stuff, and then they ask you and you're just like, well, I actually don't know the answer to that. I've never actually done it myself or whatever, right? But but it's okay. You go, you search up some help articles, you look at the knowledge base, XYZ, like you can do those things, right? And so again, just do not be ashamed, do not be scared to say, I don't know. That's the mark of a true professional, in my opinion. And you can always circle back to them once you, submit your proposal, et cetera. We've got Ilian Smith say, I came over here from Twitter. Glad to know you're here too. Yes, I'm here. I'm multicasting across a lot of different places. All right. So before we dive into the Q&A, there's one real important caution also that I want to give. So if you're trying to prepare for a brand call, one big mistake that a lot of creators make is spitting out their rate when the brand backs them into a corner. You may have experienced this. You're on a call with the brand. It's going great. You've asked a bunch of questions. You've done your research. You've made a bunch of notes. And then at the very end, the brand says, okay, so what's your ballpark rates? Like, how much do you just like roughly charge for like a post or like a YouTube video or a TikTok or podcast or newsletter or whatever, right? Insert the blank. Like, just tell me your numbers, right? We're trying to get a sense for our own, how much budget we should allocate for this, and so can you just like give us some numbers, this type of thing. Brands love to ask this type of question, right? And so the mistake is just like clamming up, like 1,000, right? You just spit out a number that you ultimately regret. You're in the shower, like crying later, like, like, why did I say that? This type of thing. Don't lie to me. I know that maybe you weren't crying, but you were tearful into your loofah. The loofah was covering your tears. Don't lie to me. I know you cry in your shower with your loofah. Let me know in the chat. This is a safe space. The more important thing to do, you may have heard me talk about this in the past, is punt. You say, all of this information has been super useful on this call. I really need to, give this some additional thought. If you have other team members at your organization or in your company, say, I need to go back and chat with my team about this to kind of talk through the logistics. And then you say almost verbatim the following statement. Okay. And this is going to help you. And you could anyone listening now, like, come back to me, like take a piece of paper out, write this down, because you can say this to brands almost verbatim and it works a huge percentage of the time. You say, I need to go back and give this some thought. Typically what I'd love to do is put together a proposal for you with multiple different tiers, usually like 3 to 4 tiers, to give you an idea of how we could bring this partnership to life. Do you have a sense of what we should set those 3 to 4 tiers at from a budget feasibility perspective? I'm going to say that one more time, okay? You said, thank you so much. All this information was so useful. I'm going to go and put a proposal together with a couple different packages, 3 to 4 packages, to give you an idea of how we could bring this partnership to life. Do you have a sense, brand, do you have a sense of what those 3 to 4 tiers should be from a budget feasibility perspective? And this will give them an opening to give you a range. Be a little bit more liberal with the ranges that they give you. They can say, okay, well, let's say, 1, 2, 3K or 5, 10, 15K or 50, 100, 150K, whatever it is, right? I've been on calls with agencies where we've been putting together proposals for their client. They'll say, hey, we want, top package $1 million, right? It's crazy. But like, this is I've done proposals like this before. And so this will give you a lot of flexibility to, number one, know how much time you should be devoting to this proposal and this partnership, and also gives the brand some flexibility, because remember, they're probably not just working with you or talking with you to try to scope this campaign out. They're probably talking with multiple different people, and so you giving them several different packages allows them potentially to slot you in if they're trying to Tetris their budget together with the 6 or 7 partners that they want to move forward with. Again, the goal is to you want to get this deal across the finish line. It's not just about how much money you're going to make. Obviously, you want to make the most you can, but the goal is to just get the deal. You want the deal, not lowball, not taking it for a low amount of money, but giving a brand some various ways in which they can move forward with you, rather than kind of all or nothing. The other reason that packages make a whole lot of sense to do in these scenarios is that you may be able to put things in front of them or tactics in front of them that they didn't even know you had. They may have come inbound for a YouTube integration or a newsletter or a podcast spot or something. And you said, oh, I actually have this private community over here with like 2,000 of your ideal customer. Would you like to come in and do a guest session over there? In fact, I have an alumni, a student of my course. Her name is Heidi. Her username is So Heidi, like sewing. And she has a private community as well as a newsletter and a podcast. And she has all these various ways in which she can serve prospective brands that want to collaborate with her. And the private community is like a big one. Like one thing that she was saying is that there's one particular brand partnership that she did where her community was so interested in this particular software that they use that she created a dedicated space, a dedicated room in her private community just to talk about that software program because people were so interested in it. And so she used that data in her pitch to the brand in the proposal, and they were just like, whoa, this is like mind blowing because you don't see that type of thing because it's in private, right? So there's a lot of things that happen. We're talking about social media all the time, right? It's like you can see the follower numbers, you can see the viewership numbers and all this stuff, but there may be aspects of your business that are private that the brand isn't privy to the actual influence that you have in private, whether it's podcasts, whether it's newsletter. People don't know how many subscribers are on your newsletter if you're not public with that. Your private community, et cetera. So I hope that this line of conversation all around preparing for calls with brands, being on calls with brands, we didn't really even discuss the kind of briefing call, like how to handle that or, how to handle like tough situations when you're on a call with a brand and they're not happy. Maybe that's a conversation for another live stream because we could definitely talk for hours about each of those specific things. So make sure to drop your questions, what you've got around this topic, preparing for calls with brands, or any other question you have around working with brands. I did want to take this moment in the live stream to acknowledge today's sponsor, which is Uscreen. I have a question for you. Okay. Do you want to know the secret to unlocking reliable, recurring income and building a devoted community without all the headaches? Let me know. Is this exciting to you? You want to know the secret, right? Because this live stream is brought to you by Uscreen, the all-in-one membership platform designed to make your life easier and your pockets fuller. I've talked about Uscreen a lot. I've hung out with a bunch of folks on their team, like Rob and Srey. They could not be nicer people and more dedicated to serving the creator economy. And you know what? I believe that memberships are the future for many creators. And here's the game-changing thing about Uscreen is that Uscreen creators are profiting faster than they ever thought possible. In fact, over 70% of Uscreen creators become profitable within just 3 months. That's right, 3 months. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can learn a bit more about Uscreen. Let me see here. Boom. There we go. So you can see here, video creators build profitable memberships on Uscreen. You can see a bunch of examples here of creators that have created their own Uscreen membership. And in fact, Uscreen has helped creators earn more than $150 million a year and reaches over 10 million users. And again, you do not need millions of followers or hundreds of videos to start. Uscreen is for creators of all sizes looking to build a reliable, recurring income with their content and their community. You can see here, there's a lot of Chris Downing right here only has 26,000 subs. And in fact, he has a profitable membership on Uscreen. All sorts of niches. You can see crocheting, recipes, jazzercise, jump rope dude, holy cow, come on, right? And by the way, talk about seamless. Uscreen takes care of everything from live screening to chat rooms to in-depth analytics. They have got you covered. But here's the best part. Uscreen helps you create your own branded apps. Imagine having a Netflix-style membership experience, but just for your content. That's what Yoga with Adrienne did with her app, Find What Feels Good. So it's an amazing ad-free experience for her community, and it was built by Uscreen. And by the way, if you're worried about the tech stuff, you don't have to be. Uscreen offers free content migration, best-in-class customer support, and a dedicated success manager to guide you every step of the way. So why settle for less when you can have more? More profits, more community, and more freedom. That's what I want. There we go. Let's get some round of applause for more freedom. So if you want to start your membership journey with Uscreen, you can click on the link in the description and you can actually check out an on-demand demo right here of how it works. So you can fill out your information here. So again, that's the link below in the description box. You can get a tailored walkthrough if you want. But yeah, I would really recommend checking out the Uscreen site. They have a ton of case studies and examples of how it works. Big fan of Uscreen. One thing I say all the time is like, when you support the sponsors of our business, it continues to allow me to create awesome free live streams and free content like this every single week. So thanks again to Uscreen so much for sponsoring this portion of the live stream. All right. Okay, let's see here. So let's dive into your questions. I just realized I don't have water here. What is going on here? I guess I'm just gonna have to go for it without water today. Talk about being unprepared. Holy cow. All right, let's see here. Sarah says, oh, that's really smart. I don't do well when I get talked into a corner. Having that script is very, very helpful. Yes, love to see it here. All right, let's see. We've got some folks tuning in. We've got the Confident Pitch tuning in on Instagram. Hello, happy mom. Joe Quarterone maybe. We've got Monique Hanel, Technicolor tuning in. Good to see you here. Create by Marcos DP. Elizabeth Love Healer. Good to see you all here on Instagram. Donna says, oh my God, I used to watch you and your family on YouTube. Good to see you here, Donna. Yes. Holy cow. Yeah, we are OG creators. First YouTube channel in 2009, if you can believe it. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Creators Stream app on TikTok says, what type or topic of content do you believe we'll see more of the rest of the year? Oh, wow, this is a good question. Yeah, it seems like every year there's like a different content format that like seems to blow up, right? If you remember back in the day when live streaming first, started rising in popularity on platforms like Facebook before they had Instagram Live, Facebook Live, this was like the big thing, Facebook Live, right? And obviously you can live stream on pretty much every platform now, but I don't know if you remember, but like when Facebook in particular started pushing like everyone, oh yeah, live streaming, this is awesome. They would prioritize live streams at the very top of your notification feed. Do you remember this? This was like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. And so people who doubled down on that particular content format saw tremendous growth, right? Both in reach and following and all sorts of, other metrics and things like that. And so same thing with short form content. When Instagram wanted to push reels, that's what you were seeing in the feed, right? And so I think, the content formats that a lot of brands are trying to push for the last 2-3 years has been things like live commerce. You see things like TikTok Shop kind of dominating the feed right now. They very much want to figure that out. They really want to figure out, okay, like how can we extract more revenue out of this platform beyond just advertising. And commerce obviously has become a very, very huge and lucrative stream in other areas of the world. China, for example, Japan, for example, Korea, Taiwan. A lot of those cultures have adapted live commerce much earlier than the West has, and so I think that you're starting to see that come in full force to the Western world. So I think live commerce is gonna continue. I'm gonna like maybe go a little bit orthogonal here with my answer though, which is that I actually think that we're gonna see growth in closed platforms or closed content formats or small groups even more. I think the last like 3-4 years has been, it's become, I guess, kind of easier than ever to go viral, to grow a following. Like TikTok especially has kind of commoditized or leveled the playing field to let kind of anyone go viral, so to speak, right? But what you've also found is that followers don't equal money. A lot of time, right? I see this all the time where, I get coaching calls. I have people who reach out all the time. Oh, I have 1 million followers on TikTok, or, oh, I have even 500,000 on Instagram or whatever. And I can't make, maybe I'm making a couple $1,000 a month, but it's not anything to like call home about, I guess, or not enough to like have a full-time income. Right. And so this is why I'm very bullish on other formats, other ways in which you can serve your audience that don't necessarily rely on the social platforms, namely an email list, namely a private membership, namely, having a private podcast, like having a direct connection with your audience so that if anything were to ever happen with their social platforms, you get demonetized, you get, banned, like whatever, right? That you have to some degree, some control over your destiny, so to speak, moving forward. Man, like the best thing that I ever did when I started Creator Wizard, several years ago, was make every single call to action for every single piece of content, join my newsletter, join my email list. Because, if I go back and look at the major revenue inflection points in my business, it all came off the back of email marketing. The way in which I was, I didn't have to, even if you said, oh, I want to follow you, Justin, on YouTube, or, oh, I want to follow you, Justin, on Twitter or whatever. Even if I make a post saying, hey, I'm launching this course, or hey, you can hire me for one-on-one coaching now, only a small fraction of my followers are going to see that message. Contrast that with email marketing. Obviously you have to do the work to have a compelling subject line to make sure that your email gets clicked, but the open rate is closer to 50% in email, right? And so which one would you prefer? 40 to 50% open rate on your email, or 10 to 20% reach on your social media posts? Right. And so I think that this is like when I explain it to people in this way, oftentimes they never really quite understood the value of email. In fact, I was on a coaching call recently, and a creator had this like massive audience. They did have a massive audience, but in particular, they had a massive email list, and they were not emailing the list because they felt as though the only reason to have an email list is like sell merch or sell your own products directly. And I basically like sat them down and said, look, yes, like selling your own stuff, selling merch and stuff like that can be a very, valuable way, or a very great reason to have an email list. But if you're able to serve your audience in another content format, even if it's just to notify them of your latest content that has come out on other platforms like a podcast or YouTube channel or whatever, even if it's just that, you can, like, a huge revenue stream that you unlock is your ability to upsell sponsorships with your newsletter, with your email list. Right. And so then they were like, oh, I get it now. Right. Like I can say, hey, yeah, I can do an integration on my YouTube channel, but I can also do a dedicated blast to my, 50,000, most engaged, viewers, most engaged audience members on my newsletter. Like that is so incredibly valuable to the right brand partner. Right. And so I would say this is like a really important thing to remember. And on the topic of Uscreen, we were talking about private memberships. This is the same example, right? This is something I'm doing constantly in my business when a brand wants to partner with Creator Wizard, is I will point them to all the different ways in which I can serve them. Hey, and hey, by the way, look, I've got this membership. I've got this community here. Again, this is like, I've got 2,000, almost 2,000 creators in there now, who represent the most engaged people in my audience. And so, hey, if you want to come in and do a free guest, kind of a free masterclass or a guest session interview about your tool, as obviously it has to serve my community. Like that's a big piece of it. Obviously, I would never offer it if I didn't think that. But like, yeah, heck yeah. Imagine getting to like ask the marketing manager or the partnerships manager for insert creator economy X or whatever your niche is, right? Imagine getting to like directly have a conversation where it doesn't feel like a sales call. That's the other thing. Sometimes like you may be interested in like working with like using a tool or like hiring a, brand for, or buying a product of a particular brand, but you just like have some questions and it's not to the point where you would like want to reach out to their customer service team and ask them, or like, it's just like not something you think about, but like, oh, there's this opportunity to like have a free conversation. There's like a kind of like an interview that Justin's giving with this brand manager here. Oh, that's cool. I'll tune into that. Right. And so it's like a unique way for this brand to be able to get to access their ideal customers. Right. And so I would say that, just like having the creativity to realize that it's not just about, like, of course, social media is unrivaled for discovery. Like getting, the very top of funnel, people, that algorithm will push you in front of people who do not know who you are and never seen your stuff. And oh, wow, they may want to follow you now because they saw your video. But it's really, as you think about kind of lower and lower on the funnel in terms of content formats, that's when you should be thinking about other ways in which you can nurture your audience and also potentially serve brands in that way. I can share an anecdote. Like I just had my first viral video, like in earnest. My first viral video got 1 million views. It was like the stupidest video on the face of the planet. But I'll just give you kind of some quick stats, which is interesting. Like, oh, what would happen if you got a viral video? So I think it has, actually, let me look. Let me look exactly how many views it has. I can give you the quick metrics here. Okay, so it got 1 million views. And of course, this is like super slow and it's not loading. Okay, here we go. Okay, so... Okay, my video, let me pull up the insights here. I really wish I had water right now. I'm very parched right now. Okay, here we go. View insights. Okay, so as of today, it has 1,069,270 views, 19,445 likes, 507 comments, 8,544 shares, 2,456 bookmarks. It's reached 755,000 accounts. There was 30,000 real interactions, 444 profile visits, and then 1.608 million plays. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so a couple of interesting things with this, right? Okay, so a couple of reasons you think, wow, only 400 profile visits on a 1 million view video. That was one thing that was very, very surprising to me, but also not that surprising because I was not featured in the video. I was like filming myself. If you saw this reel, I was like kind of making fun of the payment process when it comes to working with brands. And I just had this piece of paper and I was like holding my phone and like I was like drawing with my pen. So you didn't see my face in there. You didn't see my personality. And so I absolutely would have expected to see more profile visits, more follows and things like that. If I were more of a present, if it was like me in the video. So that's number one. Secondly, I got about 500. I grew about 500 followers on a 1 million view video. Not that many, right? However, one other thing that I did about halfway in to the video was I added a many chat automation onto the video. So you may have seen this where some people they'll say like, oh, comment the word, masterclass or something in the comments and I'll send you a link to whatever, right? And so I've been dabbling with a software called ManyChat recently. And I haven't really used it that much, but I was like, wow, this is a perfect opportunity. Like I should send people a resource if they land on this video. Man, it's going viral, like 1 million views. Or by that time, I think it was like 400,000. And so I changed the caption to comment pitch. To like learn more about my process or whatever. I don't remember exactly what I said. But it was like instantaneous. Like right after I added that, all of a sudden people who saw this video started saying pitch, 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 pitch. And so it was awesome. And so there's different things that you can do to kind of leverage when your content goes viral to make it not just like an ego stroke, like, oh yeah, I'm getting more followers and things like that. Or like really the ideal scenario is that people are joining your newsletter. And so that was the whole goal of getting people to join my masterclasses, because when people join the masterclass, then they get automatically added to the newsletter. So I just wanted to share this like quick anecdote about, social media can be great, but like oftentimes it does not really equate into business outcomes. And so this is why I think it's like really important to be smart around, how you're, what are you actually chasing when it comes to social media metrics, the vanity metrics, the views, the followers and things like that. Cause I can speak firsthand that, in this particular example, at least, that followers, views, things like that aren't going to translate into actual revenue. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. Trev Creative is over on Instagram now. Lloyd, not George. What's going on, man? Good to see you here, on the Instagram chat, man. Let's see here. So it's not mini chat, Trevor. It's actually ManyChat. So MANY chat.com. That's the one that I'm using. All right, let's dive into some other questions here. Jessica Rose says, we are chasing the bag, Justin. We're chasing the bag. You know what, Jessica, I remember when I DM'd you like a couple months ago, I was like, hey, are you using ManyChat to like, get people to like buy your ebook or whatever? Because I hadn't started doing it. And so Jessica Rose here in the chat, one of my very first one-on-one coaching clients, I was learning about ManyChat from her because I hadn't even started doing it yet. So yeah, you're the OG here with respect to that, Jessica, using ManyChat and driving sales. Heck yeah. Thank you for linking that, Trevor. I appreciate it. All right. There was a question here that I missed from Haley, I think. Haley had a question here. Let me find this. Haley, here we go. What are some of the questions that you recommend asking on the very first call that you have with the brand? Yeah, so I brainstormed a few of these a bit earlier in the live stream. The basic ones are just like, very important. Have you done creator partnerships before? like, what worked well, what didn't work so well? If you, it's very telling if a brand has, did some collaborations early on. Oh yeah, we worked with, some partners a couple of years ago. It didn't go so well. And so we haven't really done much of it. You got to dig into that. Why? Why did it not go so well? What happened? What are some of because that will really agitate the fears or the hesitations of why a brand may not be willing to pay you what you're asking for. Oftentimes it may not have anything to do with the money itself. It has everything to do with their fears that the same thing is gonna happen that did the first time. So I talk about this in my Brand Deal Wizard program in the negotiation module around all of these guarantees that you can potentially offer a brand that may be nervous or scared to work with you for a variety of reasons. So for example, maybe a previous partner that they had worked with, when they had circled back feedback to them and they had said, hey, thanks for this video. It's great, but can you edit out these 8 seconds? Because what you said, I don't know, it wasn't exactly what we were hoping. It wasn't an accurate representation of what the product actually does or whatever. And then the creator came back and was like, no, I refuse. You're violating my creative freedom and integrity of my craft. I refuse to do that. And you may think there's no way that creators would do that. Constantly creators and influencers do stuff like this. Remember, I ran an influencer marketing agency for many years. Creators constantly do stuff like this. And so the brand, and so you're kind of in this pickle, right? It's almost a stalemate where the brand ultimately is okay, well, either we can play hardball and basically tell the creator, well, we're not going to pay you unless you make that edit, which all of a sudden there's all this animosity introduced into an otherwise great partnership. Or the brand is just going to be like, okay, fine. You can, let's do it your way. But then do you think that brand's ever going to hire that creator again? No, they're not. They just didn't want to be confrontational and they just let it slide that time. But they're just going to put that creator on a list of no, we're never going to work with that person again. Right. And so it's really important to ascertain some of these fears so that you can provide them somewhat guarantees of what your level of service will be. You could say, oh, I'm so glad that you were able to share with me that that's what happened to you in the past. Let me explain to you the safeguards that I'm able to build into our partnership to ensure that never happens. I'm going to, for example, provide you feedback, the ability to give feedback on my concept before I even produce anything, whether it's a YouTube video or a podcast ad read or a newsletter insertion. I'll let you read the copy. I'll let you preview the ad read, whatever it is. You can provide me, feedback on, to back up on the concept itself before you even do that, right? It's hey, here's how I'm thinking of doing it. Is this the right approach, right? Give me some feedback on that. And then you get the green lights from everyone internally, the legal team, the brand manager, the agency, right? All these people, right? And then you get the green light, you create the content, you create the work. Then I'm going to give you another opportunity to review that, provide feedback on that, XYZ. And any revisions that you are going to need, I'm going to turn those around within 48 hours. Oh, by the way, here's my phone number. Anything comes up, there's last minute logistics, shoot me a text. Give me a ring. Happy to be accessible to you. This type of thing. So these are some of the safeguards that you can build in. That's just one of the guarantees that you can build. There's all sorts of things. There's timeline guarantees. There's, like I mentioned, flexibility guarantees in terms of your professionalism. There's so many things that you can talk through that have absolutely nothing to do with the deliverables, right? We're not negotiating on price. We're not negotiating on the usage rights or the terms or anything like that. It's about what can you do to wrap the brand or the agency in a warm and fuzzy hug for them to feel like, oh, okay, I feel great about paying Justin $50,000 because I know that money is going to be well spent. That's the other thing too, is that brands are terrified of failing. Your individual contacts, the person that you're negotiating with, the person that's going to be ultimately greenlighting this deal, their greatest fear is having to go to their boss, or if it's an agency, going to their client and being like, hey, I know that I was the one that said we should work with Justin, but we did this whole thing, and either now he's being a huge pain in the butt to deal with, and now he's asking for more money, or now he's asking to do things that I know you're going to hate, or blah, 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 right? That's one, a horror story or nightmare. The other horror story is hey, we paid Justin all this money and then it failed. Either, we didn't get the, high level awareness that we were hoping for, views, comments, engagement, et cetera. We didn't get the level of sales that we were hoping for. We didn't, something about the way in which he generated the content wasn't good or whatever. It failed. That's their biggest fear, right? And so your job is to proactively overcome those fears, proactively overcome those objections and say, hey, I have a feeling that you may be worried about X. Let me voice that fear for you and allay that proactively, speculatively. I'm going to voice that fear. I'm going to say, here's why you shouldn't worry about this. This is a fundamental truism of copywriting. If you've ever, heard of copywriting or understand what that means, it's this is oftentimes written, storytelling to talk a prospective customer through why this particular brand, this particular product, this particular service is going to help you, solve your problems. It's going to, make you happier. It's going to make you sexier. It's going to, satiate you. It's going to whatever, the core human desires. You have to be doing the same things when you are pitching a brand, because they are a person that you're trying to sell something to, right? And so if you want to learn about how to become a better, how to execute sponsorships, how to sell through sponsorships more proficiently, learn about copywriting, learn about sales psychology. These are some of the skills that you're going to need to be able to get these deals across the finish line. And again, this is the whole reason why I created my Brand Deal Wizard program, y'all. Come on, creatorwizard.com/brand deal wizard. If you didn't know, holy cow. Actually, I think I have a caption for this here. Let me pull this up here. Oh, look, see, I don't use these things enough. But here, I have here, this one. Boom. Justin Moore sponsorship coach. Boom. There we go. Those of you who are tuning on in TikTok are not going to see this, but yeah, here's my newsletter. Want to join my newsletter? Boom. creatorwizard.com/join. Let me actually change this one. I'm going to change this one right now on the fly. Brand Deal Wizard, creatorwizard.com/brand deal wizard. Boom. There we go. Save. Boom. I pulled it up. So yeah, this is the whole reason I created my Brand Deal Wizard program. Because this is what I found oftentimes is that creators, they just do not have a system. They do not have a system behind. They're not intentional with their pitches that they're crafting. They're not intentional with how they're negotiating. They do not understand what their pricing style is. There's many different pricing styles. There's competitive. There is cost plus. There is dynamic pricing. There is merit-based pricing. There's all sorts of different pricing styles. And if you don't know which one you're using, you can't possibly understand how to improve in each of those things. And by the way, there's a right and a wrong way to do it. They're not submitting concepts to the brands. They're not understanding the contracts in which they're signing. They're sloppily creating the content, not understanding, not adhering to the approved concept, the approved creative brief. They are being very difficult, as we just described, when brands are providing feedback to them. They are publishing in a sloppy way. When they publish the work, the promo code is wrong, the link isn't clickable, the copy is not correct, they publish the wrong version of the asset, on and on and on and on. The list goes on and on and on. And then finally, they are not analyzing the success or the failure of the campaign to pitch future work. This analysis one in particular is one that honestly, the vast majority of creators are not doing. All they are doing is submitting insights or screenshots of the content to the brand or the insights, because that's what they're asking for. And they're not doing any sort of speculative work to say, hey, here's a report. Here's how I think the campaign went. And oh, by the way, here's what I think we should do for the next iteration of this partnership, because here's all the insights that we learned and opportunities for the next one. So anyways, interested in Brand Deal Wizard, make sure to check it out. All right. What are the questions that we got? We've got Freewheeling Kiwi tuning in on Instagram. We've got Creating Kazia. This is an absolute insane to me right now. We have 247 concurrent viewers on YouTube. What is life? I don't quite understand this. Like, thank you all for being here. Like, I'm humbled. I don't know. It's still like blowing my mind. For the longest, can I just like share an anecdote real quick here? I've been doing this live stream for almost 3 years now, every single week. And for the last 2 years and 7 months or 2 years and 8 months, I had an average of about 20 people watching on YouTube. I had a handful of like on TikTok and Instagram and stuff, but let's just say 30 to 35 people was like the core group. Every single week was like showing up. And I don't know what has happened, but in the last like month, something, maybe it was like I was on a podcast, or maybe I was on the Think Media podcast, or I don't know. I was like, I do podcasts a lot and all this stuff too, but like all of a sudden seemed like there was like some inflection point. And now for the last like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's been crazy. Like I don't know. They always say like, oh, just like stick in there. You're going to have your moment. There's going to be an inflection point for you. And I've just always been like, I don't think so. Like, it's fine. Like, these core group of people that I see every single week, that's my tribe. That's my people. But I don't know what happened. But it's just like, I don't know. I just want to share that anecdote because like, I don't know what happened, but it's like, I think the lesson is that like you never know. You never know like when it's going to happen. Like someone's going to give you a shout out, or you're going to be on someone's podcast, and like things will change. I really feel like things are changing for me right now. Like more like messages are coming in than ever. More emails are coming in than ever. More people joining the newsletter. Like, I'm writing this book. There's a lot of people coming to me because they're seeing that I'm writing this book, and I have beta readers, and there's just like, I'm launching the conference next year. There's so many different exciting things happening. And so like, sometimes it's just like this perfect storm. It's not like one thing that's just like, oh, that's the thing. You're going to go viral on TikTok or whatever. It's just like a confluence of all these different factors. And it's like impossible to know ahead of time that like, oh, it was like this one thing, it was like this one thing that, is going to be the thing that's going to like put you on this new trajectory. You just never know. And so it's just like, I don't know. I'm feeling very humbled right now and appreciative and grateful for you, because that's why I'm here. It's not for me. It's for you. I have a very different business model than most people out there. I'm not a manager. I'm not an agent. I'm not a broker. I'm not going to take a percentage of your deals. I'm not going to take 20% of your sponsorships. I want to teach you how to do it yourself, and you keep 100%. That is the ethos that runs through the DNA of what we do here at Creator Wizard. And I think that this message is resonating. I think, more people are hearing about this. More people are feeling empowered and confident to do this themselves. Like, wow, I can actually learn this stuff. Like, that's exciting to me. That's an exciting prospect. The fact that I can be in control of my own destiny. In fact, I posted a short actually yesterday, I think it was, about why I believe 99% of creators should not hire managers. And man, that piece of content, I posted it like everywhere, like Twitter and all these places. And I've been seeing people quote tweeting the heck out of that, remixing that, and sharing their own nightmare stories working with managers. I know for a fact, like I have lots of people who have confided in me who have had just terrible experiences working with managers. Real quickly, like there are great managers out there. Like I don't want to like throw shade on like good ones out there, but there are a lot of really bad ones out there. My wife and I have experienced, some pretty nightmarish scenarios personally earlier on in our journey. And then a lot of people have confided in me these like terrible, terrible experiences they've had with multi-channel networks on YouTube, or direct managers or agencies or things like that. And it's just like terrible. I feel so much for these people. And so this was one of the reasons that motivated me to just give the power back to you where it rightfully belongs. Like, you are the one who intimately understands why your business is successful. And if you don't understand that, it's going to be very, very difficult to communicate that to someone else who really at the end of the day doesn't care about your baby, your business in the way that you do. They never will. No one ever will care about it the way that you do. And so if you're sitting here thinking like, oh, I just want to focus on the creative stuff and just find someone to like handle all the business details for me. I don't want to like do it I don't want to do the business stuff. Then this will always just be a hobby for you. That's my fundamental belief. We have seen so many creators, influencers come and go over the last 15 years. A lot of people who were at these like stratospheric heights, they were making tens of thousands of dollars a month on their creator business. And now they are not doing it anymore. And so like it can go just like that in the span of just a couple of years. You can feel at the top of your, up top of your game. It's like, they kind of talk about the kind of one hit wonder, like rock bands, back in the day, they had this like huge song and they were buying Lambos and they were mansions and they were living on top of the world. And then fast forward just a couple of years and they're no longer relevant. And the same thing can happen in your creator, in your influencer business. And things might be growing great now, but if you do not invest in your future, if you do not invest and educate yourself about how you're going to make your business sustainable for the long run, you're going to be in for a world of pain, a world of hurt. I hate to say that. I hate to be the doomsayer, but it's just happened to too many people in my life. Too many people I've seen kind of have to go back to a normal job. Not that there's anything wrong with a normal job. I always have to give that caveat, but there's nothing better than time freedom. In my opinion, the best part of having been a full-time creator, my wife's been a full-time creator since 2012. So 12 years. I've been it for 10 years since 2014. There's nothing better than time freedom. Being able to just do whatever you want, whenever you want. Obviously, we work a lot, but being able to take a day off and go and do whatever you want and go on a vacation with your family and not have to ask anyone's permission, not have to ask for days off or like plan your PTO and like make sure, I still want to have days for that later in the year and all this stuff too. No, like to me, it's time freedom. That's really what is the most potent and powerful thing about being a creator and running a business like this. And so if you want that, if you continue to want that in your life and your business, I absolutely would implore you to educate yourself about this. Be in control of your destiny. All right. Is anyone else feeling fired up? Like, can we get some like praise hands emojis, some money tongue guy? That's my favorite one right now. Like, can anyone like identify with this? Is this feeling like this is what I want? Yeah. Delilah says time freedom is true freedom. Trevor says, that's what I'm trying to build for us. You're living the dream, dude. Yes, 100%, man. Yes, Schmilly in the TikTok chat, give me some money tongue emojis. Yes, this is exactly, I'm feeling it. Guys, we are at time, if you can believe it. Every week, I'm always just blown away by the fact that you continue to show up every single week. And by the way, real quickly before we leave, if you are one of the 261 people here who are watching this, and you're not someone who typically, responds on a live chat, or you're not someone who usually comments on a video, will you just drop just a smiley face emoji for me in the chat? That would mean a lot. Hey, boo. Look at you. Come here.
I didn't know that you were live because I thought you were
really?
A
Come
podcast.
here. Here we go. Yeah, the cameo. Come here.
I saw you when I busted the door wide open. I just was going to my job, you know, and then I quit because I was like, wait, my man makes money. Just kidding.
Honey,
I'm being a mess.
Honey,
sorry.
We're talking about time freedom right now. What did you just do? In the middle of the day.
In the middle of the day. I literally live a housewife life. Like I went to work out. And then I got a pedicure. And then I literally parked at Target and I was contemplating on spending random amounts of money that I didn't need anything at Target. So I drove back home and I ate my leftovers. I mean, not leftovers, my meal prep.
But talk about how you can have a day like this because we work hard on other days. There's other days that are crazy, right?
That is very true.
Drop some facts here.
You guys, we have time freedom, which means that my babies, I can focus on them, which is such a beautiful thing. And then when they're asleep, which I really hope that they be sleeping on time, I edit my vlogs and I do my work. But we have freedom of time to do whatever we want. Actually, this is a conversation I was trying to have with Justin's parents, because every time they be visiting, they're like, why are you working right now? And I'm like, well, we work right now because we need to. And then we have the freedom to go on vacation for a whole week and not work. That's how it works for us. You know what I mean? Like I cannot explain that. Our hours are different. The way I describe it is like being a realtor, right? You land, like you sell a house, you make good commission on that house, and you can survive for a while you continue to show homes and sell homes and all of that. It's like the same thing, you know? That's how I feel it to be like.
But we're not just surviving, we're thriving over here, right?
Period. But I'm still good about money. You see how I turned around and I didn't go to Target because I knew I was about to just... You guys, the best news ever. My sister got a job as a nurse.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
and that's why I wanted to celebrate and go to Target. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not Gail. I'm her sister. Let me celebrate and do the dinner for her. But yeah, I'm so excited for her.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hear. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
That is so exciting. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Couple stream next week, Tuesday. Are you sure? I'm crazy. Do you guys really want me here?
Actually, I'm not going to be doing a live stream next week. I have an obligation. So.
Oh, he has obligations.
Yeah.
Hey, Shadi, how are you? I recognize your name.
Yeah, our Cheryl was here. Our Flo is here. She shows
Cheryl.
We see a couple familiar names.
Let me see. I want to see my familiar friends. Let's see.
I forgot a water today. Hey,
Hi, Katia. Oh, you want some water right now, baby?
I have another.
Hey there, Delilah. Sorry, I sing it every time. Bianca, hi, gorgeous. It says I have to verify.
Oh yeah. Oh, other way.
Here,
Here, I can do it. Oh, I gotta drag this thing. Okay, like this.
So what else can I share? I love bothering Justin's lives.
It's never bothering.
I went and got a pedicure because my sister graduated nursing school, and then her pinning ceremony is happening, and we're doing a dinner for her. Yeah, so I'm excited. Oh, girl, I didn't even get a boba. I'm so good because I'm trying to get it right. I can barely fit into my pinning ceremony celebration dinner dress because I'm delusional. I thought I was a size smaller.
You are,
and
no, I bet
it don't zip.
No,
it don't
really?
zip.
I can make it.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm so delusional. But yeah, I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
For my sister's graduation situation, and so that's why I've been prepping. And I got my toes done because we roast each other because, we're sisters. We like to roast each other every now and then. And so, yeah.
Hold on. Let's look at what is Addiction Mindset saying here.
Let me see, my friend.
On TikTok, your guys' course changed our life with the brand deals.
Addiction Mindset. Tell us all
Holy
about it.
cow.
Tell us all about it.
Me and my wife get this all the time. Oh, yes, dude. It is so good to see you guys here. I'm so glad that the course was so useful for you. Like, can you take a screenshot of that? I want that screen. I want that.
I don't
comment.
know how. You do.
Can I grab my phone, baby?
Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm not done.
Well, okay. Yes, please. Holy cow.
First, we must do the Carlton.
Oh no, I don't even know how to do screenshots on TikTok. How do I do it? Do I do it like this?
Like the same way you
I did
take
it.
a screenshot.
I did it.
Yeah.
I'm so terrible at this. Oh my God. Oh no. I think I'm like losing it on TikTok. It's okay. See, I always have to like do this. Is this what I have to do? I don't know. There we go. I think I did it.
Let me show you later.
This is an iPhone though. That's why it's like, it's okay. I'm back. Oh, lost connection. There we are. I got it. Oh my God. Look, we're 7 minutes over, but we got the April cameo. You guys didn't think it was coming, but it is. Oh, you're not done. I have a call though.
And thank you to our sponsor, Uscreen.
Yes. I was going to mention that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm bye.
Thanks for coming in, baby. But yes, thank you guys. I have to run. I have a call. I have an interview that I'm doing. But thank you so much for showing up. I am, as I mentioned, not going to have a live stream next week because I have some obligations. But hope you have a wonderful week. Get those pitches sent. Oh, real quickly, I did want to mention that we are doing another 7-day pitch challenge. Hot off the presses. We are doing a 7-day pitch challenge in April. And dates, we're still figuring out the dates. But if you do want to stay updated on joining the 7-day pitch challenge, we have a bunch of people who participated in the 7-day challenge last time, and they got brand deals. Literally, it was our 7-day pitch challenge is just for 7 days, but the point is to exercise your pitching, to create a pitching habit, work that muscle, and multiple people who participated in the challenge ended up hearing back from the brands that they pitched. So absolutely, you should join in on the next round of the pitch challenge because I am very, very excited. Yes, Bianca said pitch challenge in April. Pitch challenge in April is coming. So if you want to stay updated for it, creatorwizard.com/join is the best way to stay updated on that. And join us. It's very fun. It's very fun. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Peace.